Alright, let's start to talk about texturing. So, I'm going to assume you know what a UV map is, and even if you don't, it's not that hard to figure out how this stuff fits together. So, what we want to do for the moment is texture Misa's dress to look more like this picture here, with the white stripe on the bottom and the gray across the corset instead of the red, right? So that's actually not too hard of an edit to do. Before we start, I do want to say I did fix her face a little bit. There were a few errors that I noticed, and I just kind of had to fix them in post. So it wasn't part of the tutorials, but there was like a few head scale things I did. I felt like her head was, I made it too long. I don't think I needed to make it like long. I actually made it wider than it was originally. What I did do was try to fill out the face a little bit more, and then pull the eyes forward a little bit more. And also, if you notice from Miss Misa's design, her mouth is actually pretty small on her face. So I made that smaller. Oh yeah, and I changed her eye color as well. The eye color kind of keeps it in tone with like the rest of the outfit. So okay, spiel over. We're going to start texturing this dress. This bottom half of the dress. So what we can do is in bottom, it's actually not hard at all to begin texturing this thing. So what we need to texture it is a guide to show us where to draw and whatnot. Open the material editor for the dress. We can export a UV map, and what that will do is spit out a lined image that will act as a guide for you to paint on in the image editor of your choice. So it opened a window just now. You can't see it, but there we go. So what you can see here. So what I recommend that you get if you're new to this is paint.net, which is a free, very powerful image editor that's more user-friendly than GIMP, but for GIMP, there's a few advantages that I use it for. But so what we've got here is a bunch of lines which kind of show us where the dress layout is. Now this alone won't do much for us. So what we have to do is in the window here, we're going to do dump original texture, which will give us this exact texture with the coloring and everything included as another image that we can open. So if we go into paint.net again, I've just opened it. It should spit it out into a folder that you can then open the image in your image editor. So what we've noticed here is all the red lines and things like that. And actually we can take this and make it more opaque if we wanted to. And I think that would actually be beneficial, just to kind of show you that editing the image does work. So I have with paint.net, I have a whole bunch of things installed here. So what we can do is literally just go over here, select all with Control A, Control C to copy, go over to the other picture, zoom out a little bit, I guess, with Control scrolling, open a new layer, paste it in, Control V. Actually, the UV map, if you notice, is a lot bigger than the actual texture itself. So I'm going to have to shrink it down. So I'm going to switch to bicubic mode, which helps me a lot better than nearest neighbor. So you hold shift and drag one of the corners, and it'll keep the same aspect ratio. So it'll keep it a square, essentially. And there we have some lines showing us where things are laid out on top of the texture. And then all we have to do is make a layer in between the two, and we can start drawing if we wanted to draw. But for me, I want to here's what I'll even do. I'll invert the colors in the adjustments panel. You can't see this, but I'll invert the colors, which will just let me see it that much more easily. There we go. Boom. So now you can actually see what I'm doing. Okay. So, right. Layers. Okay. This is a very small window, but whatever. Okay, layers. You can add new layers. You can take them out. Cool. So, I pasted the lines on layer 2. And then on background, I just hit add new layer, and it added layer 3 above it. And so if I wanted to add something, I can draw on layer 3 with like the paintbrush tool, you know, if I wanted to take color here and just kind of like add some things to the texture if I wanted. But for right now, I'm going to just take the image. I'm not going to add anything. I'm going to try to take away the color here. Now, it's going to be a little bit of trial and error. If you notice, let me go do this. If you notice, it's going to be a little bit hard to find out what goes to what. So I think these parts right here are the corset. So let's see. So, because obviously some of the red we do want to keep. I wonder if any of this is necessary up here. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna take all the saturation out of this. I think we can do that, and it should work fine. And so we have done that, so we can take this. And what I like to do to be able to quickly go back and forth is save it as a PNG file in my overlays, which should be good. Which should be a good place for it. So, pardon the mess. I've been, retexturing things like crazy. So then, what I like to do is take the export number and then just add in capital letters the name of the character that I'm modifying, just to keep it somewhat organized. Okay, so then it saves, and then you can just instantly undo and start working with your layers again if you need to. So you can just keep, Control Shift F to flatten the image, Control S to save, Control Z to undo, and so it's a good way to just keep constantly back and forth editing stuff. So what we can do in the game window is load in the new overlay texture, alright, which will be the one that says Misa on it, somewhere. I think is it towards the bottom? There it is. Alright, what happened? Why is it... Oh, did it reset the material editor? Possibly. There. Is that a little bit better? I can't tell. Alright, well, I'll have to do a little bit more editing on this image then. So what I'm going to do is go to... Here, let me turn this on again. I'm going to go to Adjustments, going to go to Levels, and I'm just going to drag up the bottom a little bit. Things tend to get darker in Koikatsu when you're texturing, so we'll see what this does to it. So we're going to flatten it, save it, and instantly it changes if you see, oh yeah, over on the screen. So that's obviously a little too bright, so we're going to try to do that again. So I undid the levels adjustment, and just going to try to do it again, but just maybe less of a change. Flatten it, save it, getting closer, maybe just a little bit less, just a tiny bit less. Flatten it, save it. There. I think we like that. All right. So far we have gotten rid of that red part, so that's good. So the red is gone. It probably doesn't look exactly like the picture. There might be a few things we could do. Maybe, okay. I've noticed that people have suggested on the Discord, which is when you have your specular color, what you can actually do in the material editor, so you know how we have that specular color that I showed you last time, what we can do is actually increase one of these values. So if you notice, she does have a little bit of red shine in there, so we could do like 1.2 maybe, and it turns it red. So we're going to add that white stripe now. So what I'm going to do is turn off the reference. Let's open paint.net back up again on the screen. So let's find the part of the dress where the white stripe is. I would assume it's this part right here, because it kind of looks... It's right next to where the red is, and I think it's probably the part that we want to modify. So what we can do, literally, this is not even going to be an issue. We just make a new layer. We have our white color here. We can make the brush width maybe a little bit more. Just take a white, hold shift, and then go across with it. We can, make it thicker if we want. I think that'll be fine. And then we just adjust it as we see fit. So let's turn off this layer. We're going to Control Shift F to flatten, save over it, see if it looks good. It's a little too thick. So just Control Z, and let's adjust the thickness. Maybe like there. Flatten it, save it. Forgot to turn off the grid lines. And that's a little bit better. What we can actually do is maybe lower the opacity just to make it, less of a white line, Let's actually look at the reference image to see just see what we're working with here. So it's maybe a little bit of a red white line as well. We could maybe sepia tint it or temperature tint it, possibly. Just a little bit on the orange side. A little bit on the pink. I don't know, something like that. And then it's got low opacity. Alright, so we're going to save it, flatten it, save it, Control Z. That's a little bit too much color. So, yeah. I think what Koikatsu likes to do is really amplify the colors and then darken them. Alright, so we can keep working this back until I like it. And remember, this is an art, so you can kind of play around with it. It's not like an exact science here. I think that's okay. That right there. Okay, so maybe take down the red on the top a little bit. So open the material editor, maybe 1.1 on the red. Just a little red, yeah. Okay. Let's also fix the necklace, I think. I think that's a good idea. We're going to try that ring necklace again. One thing I noticed, the parent, if you parent to throw, it might just stick with the right placement. That should help with the necklace. The only thing would be the actual look of the necklace itself, because if you notice, there's like some spiky things on the necklace, apparently. I mean, I could texture that ring to be like white to kind of get a little bit closer. My apologies, I have left this on the screen way too long. Okay, so what I've done is just use these sliders here to adjust. So you can actually click in here and slide things around, just in case you didn't know. So adjustment 01 is where you can change the positioning of things. So apparently if you parent it to throw, it will like parent it to this general area and not like clip through. So yeah, that seems to do the trick. I think I want the shoes to be black and sparkly instead of just this red color. What we can do is in the outfit under, I think outdoor shoes will be fine. Let's change the color from red to black, and then let's dump that texture. I don't probably even need the UV mapping to do what I'm about to do. So we have this texture here for the shoe. Let's actually add some noise in this. Okay, and then maybe just bring up the levels. Let's open that up. It looks a little bit shiny. It could be worse, could be better though. No, I think ultimately it's not good. That we could just clear the overlay and leave it either that black or even darker. Let's try to retexture her eyes. So we do have these nice looking eyes here, but what if we wanted it to look just like in the show? Let me show you what I mean. Ooh, scary. We'll try to do it just a little bit closer to this. Not exactly, because obviously that's really scary, but I don't know, just to show you how you can change eye textures. Go into iris, and actually we can go into iris overlays, and we can change the iris in the same exact way that we changed the dress here. In material editor all, you want to go into here and look for a thing, material in the list. Like you see how we have material names here? We're looking for a material called Hitomi, which I'm assuming has to do with eyes in Japanese. Okay, so if we look for this, what we can do is export the texture that we're currently using, which I'm assuming is just going to be this exact texture. So we have this texture. Let me show you. Okay, so we have this texture here, which we can now work with. And we just want to make it look just a slight bit like the eyes here. Maybe not exactly, but definitely give it that kind of glowy look, I think. I kind of want to keep the puppy dog eye look, but just add a glow to it. So let's try to... I'm kind of a mess today. Alright, so turn up the radius. Turn up the brightness. Not too much. Okay. We're going to save this, see what it looks like when we import it into the game. So we go to Iris Overlays. We're going to load a new texture. There it is. See how that looks? Just a little bit brighter. A little bit closer to what we were looking for. But yeah. We could maybe turn the collar black, which actually, I think there might just be a separate necklace for this. If we go into here where the choker was, like right here. There it goes. Okay, so we can actually take that and maybe shrink it in a little, just so that it's right on there. There we go. So I found a better choker. We could probably, I think what I want to do is texture this necklace a little bit. So to retexture this, obviously there isn't that window for importing textures and things so conveniently. So what we can do, here, let me check, make sure I'm still recording. Yeah. So what we can do is in the material editor for this item, you can actually replace textures completely inside the material editor. So if we go into main text, which is the main texture, we can export and import. So let's export this. See what we get. So this actually looks kind of crazy. We might have to play with this a little bit to see what's going on. So sometimes you get a UV map or a texture that's just completely out of nowhere, like weird. So let's just draw a yellow line through this and see where that shows up on the actual texture. So we're going to hit Control-Shift-S to save as a new file. We're going to do Misa like that. And then what we can do, actually, it won't automatically refresh just like the convenient little window does, but we're going to have to hit Import Texture and find the one that we just edited. So let's actually sort by date modified. And it should show up like right here. See where we can find the yellow at, if anywhere. I do not see a yellow line anywhere. Okay, so let's try something different. Let's put some yellow here, and it's not showing up. Oh, it could be because we need to set this color back to white. That'll do it. Okay. That's what we want to do. We want to probably, I'm guessing what we want to do is darken the rest of the necklace while keeping this part white so that it will kind of emulate the look of that other necklace. All right. So what we can do is in this texture, just take this half of the image. I mean, it's very clearly delineated for us. I think this is the main ring and this is just the chain. So what we can do is just darken that to a very dark color. Bring down the contrast, brightness. Okay. See what that looks like when we save that. There we go. Now we have a very dark necklace with a light end to it, which kind of emulates what we see with this reference image. What we might be able to do, actually, in maybe a later video, is take another prop and use that as part of the necklace. So I'll save that for when we do advanced accessory editing. But for now, I think that about settles what we can do here. So yeah, texturing isn't that hard, as you can see. You just have to kind of know what you're looking for. I mean, yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. That was this was been kind of just a a dive into texturing. Yeah. We might darken that corset a little bit, actually. Okay, so I just selected the parts that I think might be the corset, and so I just bring it down to try to make it even with the rest of it. We can just adjust it again with the brightness and contrast. Make it maybe like that. Flatten it, save it. Come back. Yeah, that's a little bit closer. And here's one last thing I want to do. Take these shoes, go into the material editor, and just bring down the rim lighting on it because, my god, that is way too much. So rim V is going to be the brightness of the rim lighting, which is the backlighting on these shoes. So we just take the rim V, and I just want to bring it down a little bit. Maybe bring up the rim power, which actually, no, yeah, sorry, that's specular power. Rim power is going to show how much it spreads throughout the object. So bring that up maybe a little bit. That didn't have anything to do with texturing, but I just wanted to do that. Okay, okay, before I go though, I'm going to save this image, or save this character, make a new image with the changes that we have made. And one thing I noticed that I've never used before, but might be cool, is these background frames, right? Apparently, you might be able to make your own card frames with these. I've never tried this before, but I might start doing that. With that, I will put her in the same pose that she was last time. And there we go. Okay, and actually what I'm going to do is include... I'm going to have to find some way to keep sharing this card and updating it as we go along with this series, so that you guys can, download and, modify her or just use her in any way you want. So yeah, that'll be cool. But for now, I think that's good. It's good to go. It's good. It is bueno. Yes, bueno. Goodbye.